Video lesson 11.5. So now we're going to deal with, as we mentioned before, the point slope formula of a line. I wanted to spend a little bit of time just going over this specific form because I find it to be so much more versatile and helpful. So hopefully this is just a quick lesson for you guys, but allows you guys to kind of see what I'm talking about and kind of get a better grasp of the actual point slope formula. So let's look at example 1. So they have a point there for 5, which is already labeled for us. They want us to draw a line that has a slope of 2, 3, and passes through that point. So I'm going to go to 4, 5, the point, up to right 3, up to right 3. I'm going to go down to left 3, just to kind of get an extra 1 or 2 there. Let's take a straight edge here and draw ourselves a line. Should look like that. All right, let's not forget our arrows. All right, from there. So again, as you can notice, part B says, what's the 2 consecutive integers that must the y-intercept lie on? So as you can see, it does not cross the y-axis nicely. So if I did ask you to find this in y equals mx plus b form, the b part would be a little bit more challenging. I can't just look at the graph. I'd have to go off and kind of find it algebraically and able to do that. So that's one thing that can kind of deter you from wanting to use y equals mx plus b all the time. It's not always going to be a nice y-intercept point. Right, but we know it lies between 2 and 3 here. So just to answer this question, it lies between a value of 2 and 3. So if I take another point, really any point, they chose -8, -3, so that would be here, right? And they're asking us to find the slope between these 2 points, which we should know should be what? It should be the same as the slope we found. Doesn't matter, right? So let's do this real quick here. We've got, that's 8 and 12, right? So 8 over 12, right? And that makes the same thing as 2/3, right? 4 goes into both of them. So clearly it is, in fact, equal. And again, we know this makes sense because the slope between any 2 points on a line should be the same. It's a constant rate of change, right? Because this is a linear line with a constant rate of change of 2/3. All right, so part D, consider any arbitrary point, x and y, that lies on the line. So any point that you have, explain why the following equation must also be true for this line. Then rearrange the equations so that there is no fraction on the left side. All right, so again, y minus 5 over x minus 4 is equal to 2/3. So this is just the slope formula, right? So m equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So no matter what x and y we plug in here, right, whatever x it is, we would have a slope of 2/3 because it has to be consistent throughout the entire linear line. So this is just a formula representing any point, right, and utilizing one point, specifically the 4, 5 point. And we already know that the slope is 2/3. So if they're asking us to rearrange this, so they're basically saying, can we derive the point slope formula here? So if I think of this here as a proportion, I can cross multiply, right? So I'm going to get 3 times y minus 5 is equal to 2 times x minus 4. Now I could obviously distribute and solve for y and get it into y equals form, but I don't want to do that. I want point slope formula. So if I just simply take away, right, the 3 part here, if I divide each side by 3, right, I'm going to get y minus 5 is equal to 2/3 of x minus 4, right? That right here is my point slope formula. right, for this equation of this line. That's my point slope formula. So the overall formula, and if you don't know this or you didn't write this down the other day, definitely write it down again. So point slope formula is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Right? This is your point slope formula, right? Where m represents the slope, right? This is the slope. And the x1 and the y1 represent a point, right? This is a point on the line. Right? So any point on the line and the slope, and then you got yourself a point slope formula, which is nice. All right. And again, the reason that I like this so much, this point slope formula, is because once I have it, right? So if I take the formula we just found for this equation of this line, right? I can always manipulate this into point slope formula. So if I really do, in fact, want it to be in point slope form, I can do that with pretty much a simple little algebra process here. So I'm just going to distribute. So I'm going to get y minus 5 is equal to 2/3 x minus, that would be 8/3. And now I'm just going to simply add the 5 over. That will cancel on the left. So I'm left with y is equal to 2/3 x and negative 8/3 plus 5. That would give me, what would that be, 15/3, so that's positive 7/3. So now I have it in y equals mx plus b form. And as we said before, that y-intercept is not really a nice point there, right? And it's not even a nice decimal either. It's a repeating decimal. So again, this is why trying to find that may have been a lot more difficult to work with in the beginning, but the point slope formula, a lot easier and a lot simpler to create the equation of a line there. So, and then again, if I wanted to, I can just manipulate it into what we have just here. So I really like it. I strongly recommend utilizing the point slope formula as often as possible because it really does make your life tremendously easier in the long run. So, all right, let's just do a quick little practice here. So I am going to give you guys, I'm going to work through A and B together, and then I'm going to let you guys try C and D here. So let's do for the first one here. Again, here's my formula, right? Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So here's my x1 and my y1. Here's my slope. That's my m. So I'm just going to say y minus 7 is equal to 4 times x minus 5. And I'm done. Again, one of the reasons why I love this formula so much. Just so simple when trying to create the equation of a line. All right. We could also come over here for b. So we got y minus 5 is equal to negative 1/2 times x minus. Now I have a negative 3. So we do want to simplify that part there. So minus and minus is just plus. So I'm going to have y minus 5 is equal to negative 1/2 and then x plus 3. All right, so there would be my equation. So we do sometimes have to simplify the expression, but we're just simplifying that part, the plus and minus to the x1 and the y1. So same thing could happen over here with the y's. All right, so give you guys an opportunity to pause the video. I want you guys to try C and D, and then we'll come back and I'll reveal the answers. So take a chance to pause it right now and see what you can do. All right, so let's see how we did with this. So we've got this first one here. Let's take this, get rid of that one. There's your first one. So you got y plus 10 is equal to negative 2 times x minus 4. Again, I had to simplify the y term there. And for this one, we've got y plus 5 is equal to 4/5 times x plus 2. In this case, I had to simplify both the y and the x term in order to simplify. Right. But again, hopefully that wasn't too bad. I guess it's pretty straightforward. You just got to do a little bit of simplifying from time to time, but it's a really fast way to get the equation of a line. All right, let's try 2 examples and then let you guys have some time to practice your practice problems. All right, so what do we got here? We've got which of the following equations of the line is parallel keyword, parallel to this line, and passes the point 411. So to find my m, I got to utilize it here. So the m in this problem is 5. So my parallel slope, as we know, parallel lines have equal slopes, so that's also going to be 5. So now I have m to be 5, and I have an x1 and a y1, so I can now say that y minus 11 is equal to 5 times x minus 4. So there's the equation of my line, but as you can see, none of my answer choices are in that form. So I can now distribute and simplify this expression into y equals form. So that gets me 5x minus 20. If we add the 11 over, that gets us here, y is equal to 5x minus 9. And that would be choice 2. So again, nice, easy way to get the equation. We can manipulate it if we needed to, which we did. They also like to sometimes make the answer choices into standard form where they have x and y on the same side of the equation equal to a constant. So again, if I did, I could just simply move the 5x over and now I have it in standard form. So, all right, last one here. So line segment AB has endpoints of A, -4, 9, and B, 0, 1. If a line is drawn through A, so it's through A, and it's perpendicular to AB, what is the equation? And then a follow-up is what would its y-intercept be? So so a lot of little pieces here. So let's do this part first. I need to first figure out what my slope's going to be, right? So let's go off to the side here. Let's do that part here. So find my slope. So let's calculate the slope. So m is of the line segment AB. So the slope of AB is going to be, I'll just write here AB so we know. This is going to equal, let's see, 9 minus 1 over -4 minus 0. So that's going to be 8 over -4, which is -2. So my perpendicular slope is going to equal opposite reciprocals. So opposite of a negative is positive, reciprocal of 2 is 1/2. So that's the slope we're working with. All right. And the other key part is it said it wants us to go through A. So y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So now we're going to say y minus, I'm going through A, so I'm using this one. So I've got the y term is 9. Our slope is 1/2. X minus, and the x coordinate was -4 from there. Simplify this. So I get y minus 9 is equal to 1/2 x plus 4. So what's the equation? I'm done right there. That's my equation. All right. They didn't specify what form they want it in, so I can leave it in the form that I want. And in my opinion, point slope is going to be the easiest one for you to do. So you're done. Now the follow-up question says, what's the y-intercept? So I do need to manipulate this into y equals form. But we can go off to the side and do that with no problem. So let's do that here. So I'm going to distribute this part. So y minus 9 is going to equal to 1/2 x plus 1/2 of 4 is 2. Going to add the 9 to both sides. So y equals 1/2 x plus 11. So that's my y-intercept. This part right here represents my B, my y-intercept. So the actual point, the y-intercept is going to be 0, 11 then, right? For that. So it's an actual point where it crosses. It just crosses the y-axis at 11, but the point would be 0, 11. So that would be the answer to this part of the question. So hopefully you guys find that video helpful. And again, and see in my reasoning for stressing why point slope formula is kind of like really important and helpful. It just really will make things a lot easier and smoother for you in the long run. So take the opportunity to take video notes and work through these questions and problems to get on your own. And don't forget, use the practice problems for better understanding.